Okay, so we got a background for image, we've saved that, and just a reminder, a tool we use a lot is right here, is the move tool. Now, if you're on a different tool, you want a shortcut to one of these other tools, like my move tool. So I'm on my eyedrop tool, I'm going to get back to my move tool. I can use my keyboard by just clicking the letter M. My keyboard will take me to the rectangular marquee tool for M. The I, back to the eyedropper. If I want to get back to the move tool, V will take me to the move tool. With the move tool, I can click and move my different layers around. So most of these tools will have a hotkey on your keyboard, which will get you to there. Okay, let's add some objects to this file. I can always click and drag objects in, but I can go ahead and place it. File, place. And for this one, I'm going to do my stones I have here. It's just some pictures of stones from a local beach. Pretty cool looking stones. I could rasterize this so it's not linked to original. Well, obviously I want to cut these stones out. They're going to be sort of the basis of my castle. Is going to be built on that and floating in the air. Well, how can I cut things out? I could erase the outside. I could do a quick selection. I could do lasso tool and delete some things. Delete the background. I could do a quick selection or magic wand, but which are all pretty valid ways. But to have the most control and do the most professional job on this, I want to go to my pen tool. So if I go to click the hotkey P, or up here in my toolbar, click the pen tool here. It looks like an old pen nib when you use a metal pen and ink. Okay, and if I click and hold that pen tool, I can see there's all kinds of different things you can do with that, which we'll talk about that in a bit. Just keep in mind, anytime you click on one of these tools and hold, there's usually some other options or hidden tools underneath. So I'm going back to this pen tool. I'm going to make sure I'm on this top level of that pen tool. I'm just going to show you up here in this corner what I can do. I can click, 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 and click where I started from, that first anchor. Those are called anchors. Then I have a shape, and I can do something with that shape. I could delete what's in there. I could add color to it. I could do all kinds of things with that shape or that path. Well, Command Z or Control Z on your keyboard for a PC will let you undo a step you just did. Alright, some more things about the pen tool here. If I click and click that straight lines, if I click and drag, it gives me a nice Bezier curve, a very controlled curved line. So you have a lot of control of this tool. Alright, now as I'm clicking and clicking and clicking, click and drag, I can see these handles. These handles will let me come back later and do some more detailed adjustments if I want. Click and drag, and for the complete shape, I always want to click on that first anchor that completes the shape, and I can do something with it. Let's see some of the things we can do. Oh, if I go to my move tool, Command Z, I can move other layers. If I go to the path selection tool, I can move paths. Okay, so maybe I made this path, this shape here, but I want to use it somewhere else on my image. I can move it around. That's the path selection tool. I have the direct selection tool here, the white arrow. With that, I can click on one of these anchors and move that specific anchor around to resize my shape, change my shape. If I click on an anchor and it has handles, I can even click those handles and do very subtle adjustments to those shapes. Okay, if I go to my path selection tool, move the whole selection. If I go back to my pen tool and I hover over one of these existing anchors, I can click and delete that anchor, and it gives me that longer curved segment. I could delete this one, and it changes my shape. I can also do the convert point tool. So if I have a curved anchor with a curved segment, I could click it and it'll straighten out that. It'll make it a corner instead of a curve. There's another one that's curved and another one, so I can make this very straight edged image or shape. Well, what if I decided I want to bring some curves in there? I can click with that convert anchor tool. I can click and drag out and let go. Click, drag out. Okay, so very versatile tool, and then I can do something with these shapes. We'll do that in a second. Let me go back to my path selection tool, and I can delete that path. I can click this path and hit delete on my keyboard. Now let's go ahead and draw a path. Here's my goal. I want to draw a path using the pen tool. A nice, pretty good path all the way around these shapes, these stones. Then I can mask the background and separate these out. This is going to be non-destructive, which means if I ever change my mind later, I can bring that background in. I can zoom in, Command plus plus, Command minus minus, Command plus, or Control plus, Control minus for PC. I can move around. I'm just zooming in. I might change my image. I can hold the space bar on my keyboard down. Brings me that hand. I can move around and zoom in and see what I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to make a mark right here. When I'm making this shape, this line, I want to keep it somewhat within this object I'm cutting out. So a little bit within there. I'm going to click, straight line to start. When I finish up the shape, I want to be back here to this anchor. Well, there's a curve. I can click at the top of that curve, drag out to the right just a little bit. Click here to the bottom of that curve, and it should complete it pretty good. I'm still within these stones. Now I can click, drag, click, drag. Now if I go too far, I can Command Z. I can undo. Alright, if I mess up, I'm going to keep this once again within there. Now it's a stone, doesn't have to be perfect, right? People aren't going to say, that doesn't look exactly like that stone we saw before. Now it's a person's face or body, then you may want to be a little more careful, but we'll go sort of fast here. And once again, go on these nice curves and go on the pinnacle and sort of drag in the direction your next line is going to go. Now this takes some practice. It's hard and frustrating at first, but it's worth it once you get this technique down. Once you master this, it's definitely worth your time because you have a lot more control. Alright, I'm going to zoom out, Command minus. I am not changing that image yet. I'm just zooming it, looking at it farther away so I can finish. See what I'm doing here. Command Z. I want to be careful and take my time to do this right. It may take you 10 minutes, it may take you 20 minutes, it may take you an hour, whatever you need to do. Make sure you get this step down when you're cutting things out. Do the best you can, do it correctly. Like I said, if it's a person or an animal and you mess up and trim things too close or not close enough, it'll really make a difference. Command Z, Command Z. Click about right here. There we go. And curve it out here. Almost done. So I've completed that shape. Now I can do something with it. I can right click. I could delete the path, define a custom shape, make selection, new guides, fill path with a color, put a stroke on it, free transform the path. I'm going to make it a selection. Now I can feather the edges. That makes the edges sort of soft. I'm going to keep it at 1. This is a new selection. Okay. Now I can do something. I have the section selected. I can do something. I could delete it. Nope, I don't want to do that. Command Z. With that selection, I'm on my layer here. I can add a layer mask. Click the layer mask, and that should put a mask on there, and it masks the background. I can go back to my move tool. Now I can move that object around. The cool part is the background is all still there, so it's non-destructive, but it's being masked. I could always delete this mask layer, take it to the garbage can. It's going to say, do you want to apply it or delete it? I can say delete it, and there's my background again. Oh, let me undo that, Command Z. There's my layer back, Command Z. Now see, I made that layer above my background layer with my adjustment layers on top of that. I don't want those to adjust my stones, so I'm going to grab this layer and move it up here above everything else. There we go. It's a little too big, Command T. And make it a little smaller. Want room for my other stuff on there. And I could flip it around. I'm still on Command T, transform. Could scale it, rotate it, skew it, distort it, perspective. Flip horizontally. Nice. I think that'll work good. Could flip vertically, also if I want. And Command C. Horizontal. Right click, flip vertical. Alright, so I can move things around if I want. Command Z. Command Z, Command Z. Double click when you're happy with that transformation. I might change it later, we'll see what happens. File, save. So that's how I can cut out objects. That's how I can cut out any object using that pen tool. Takes a lot of practice to get it down good, but it's definitely worth it. So I've got my background image, I got some adjustment layers, I got an alternative background image I may want to put in there, and I have my floating rocks. That would be the beginning of my imaginary house. Command T or Control T will let me transform. Let's see if I rotate it. Maybe my house would look better sitting on top of this layer up here. We'll come back next video and add some more elements. Oop, I always got to save first. Save any updates.